Hi, welcome back to my channel, and this should be an interesting video. I've seen content on YouTube from other YouTubers talking about Etsy sellers that are in the top 1%. So sellers that are in the top 1% and what are the things that they do differently, and they look at them, they research them and so on. Well, I thought I'd give you a real insight here. I can go one better. I work with the top 0.1% Etsy stores. So these are right at the top of the Etsy food chain. And I want to talk about 5 things that these guys do. It's eye-opening, probably not anything that you've heard before, and will get you thinking about the mindset that these sellers are in to make the money that they do. But before we get into what these 5 things are, what makes a top 0.1% seller? It's not that hard to be a top 1% seller because so many stores don't do so badly. It's not that hard. But to get to 0.1, you've got to be earning some serious money. So for me, and my 10 years of doing this job, a top 3 things. Top 0.1% sellers are usually $500,000 per year revenue, okay? So first of all, when I tell you these things that these guys are doing, I'm talking about stores that do over $500,000 a year. I work with loads of these guys. Okay, so real insight here. So that's the first one. The second point is they're doing it since COVID. Okay, so this is hard. This is really hard. You've got to be doing something really right to earn this since COVID was around. Not many people are doing this. Trust me, there are not many sellers doing this. I've worked with a lot of them. So that's the second thing. They're doing this revenue since COVID. And the third thing is there's absolutely no print on demand, okay? None of these guys I work with are doing print on demand. And I'm telling you this to, again, illustrate how hard print on demand is and practically impossible to get to these revenue levels. In fact, I wouldn't ever say to anyone, there's a realistic chance of you doing $500,000 a year on Etsy with POD. Mostly don't even bother, right? So these are the 3 things. So that should be piquing your interest. Big sellers have earned the money in the last 5 years, no print on demand. Let's find out these 5 things they're doing that other smaller sellers aren't doing. Let's get into it. Okay then, so what are these big players doing? What are the stores that are doing over $500,000 a year since 2020 doing in their stores differently to most other Etsy sellers? There are certain things that they definitely do, and I've noticed these points and I'm going to bring them to you in this video. So the first one, and this is again, it's going to go against what you're hearing from everyone else, but the fact is, nobody else is working with the clients that I'm working with at the level of money that these guys are earning that I work with. So the first thing, categorically, this is 100% truth, okay? None of them are using SEO tools, okay? This would be laughable for these sellers doing $500,000 a year or more to be spending time, wasting time on SEO tools. None of the sellers I've ever worked with, historically, period, in the last 10 years, that do $500,000 or more per year revenue, none of them are using SEO tools. That would be a colossal waste of time, a colossal waste of resources. You don't need to use them. And none of these guys earning big money are using SEO tools. Categorically, I've worked with loads of them, they don't use these tools. And that should be another sort of marker for you. You know, SEO is at its most important when you build and grow your store, but you still don't need to use these tools, and you definitely won't be using them once you get to 6 figures. You just won't, you don't need to use them. Number 2, so this is the second thing, really important. They use or recognize the earnings pyramid and they delegate. Okay, this is really important. So one of the key parts to scaling and growing is keeping yourself as the owner, director, founder, CEO, whatever you want to call yourself, at the top of the earnings pyramid. That means you only undertake activities that bring in or have the potential to bring in the most revenue. I've taught this before on my channel, but I'm saying this now because all of the guys earning $500,000 a year or more do this. Keep themselves at the top of the pyramid. When they find tasks that still need to be done, but they know it's going to be a waste of their time or lower their earnings potential, they bring in staff, either physical or virtual. They delegate out all the tasks that are going to lower their business earning potential. And this is really hard to do. I'm actually doing this in my own consultancy at the moment. I've taken on a mentor myself to learn more about my own earnings pyramid and how to use my time better in what I do. Part of what I do is with you guys on YouTube. And that's part of the earnings pyramid for me, just like everything in my business. The same for you guys and the same for these big sellers. You've got to keep yourself at the top of the earnings pyramid. Don't drift off down towards the bottom. An example of drifting towards the bottom of your earnings pyramid, this, SEO tools. That will take you straight, express elevator down to the bottom of your earnings pyramid, and you'll just waste time for no money, no revenue. Do you see? Good example, that. Earnings pyramid, they delegate, they keep themselves at the top, earning the money and increasing the potential to make more money, make more sales. Okay, so number 3, again, you know I talk about this all the time, but literally every single seller I've worked with that does 500K or more per year has over 100 listings, okay? And usually this runs into the hundreds of listings. So it's been proven without a doubt, bigger stores sell more, and the guys that are doing serious money, they have hundreds of listings usually. Usually between 500 and 1,500 listings is what I see when I'm working with these big sellers. Try to do as best as you can, okay? I'm not saying you're gonna get to $500,000 a year, or you probably don't even want to, you may not want to, but try to get to at least 100 listings to maximize your chances. Okay, the next one, this is a huge one. They spend money on photography and video. This is absolutely critical, and it leads into the point 5 or area 5. They spend money on photography and video, serious money, because you can't have a store trying to get to this $500,000 a year mark and have terrible photos and video. They spend money on photographers, videographers, sometimes the photographer will do both, to bring in that quality, bright, well-lit photos, context specific, okay? When you take photos of your products, they need to be context specific. So the photo needs to support the product you're selling and have meaning related to the product you're selling. As an example, if you sold a football charm necklace or something like that, you might photograph it on a football pitch, on some grass, or near a football pitch, or on a table next to a football pitch, to give that context, to give that meaning. Or you might have someone with a football outfit on, football kit. They spend money on photos and video, and it looks good. This is something that everybody should be aspiring to. Get better at photography and video. It literally makes you more money. So that's number 4. Number 5 is related to number 4 and is created by number 4. They have a strong brand. Okay? So wherever you go on the web to look at these sellers, Etsy, Amazon, website, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you go, they've got a strong brand presence where they have decided to be. And let me be clear on this. You've got to decide where you want to be when you market and promote your business. So you always hear me talking about don't send traffic to Etsy to try and sell stuff. Yeah, don't do that. It's a complete waste of time. There's numerous videos on my channel about why this is a waste of time. But it's not a waste of time when you're trying to build your brand. So you have to pick your battles with where you're going to promote your business. And when you decide where you're going to promote your business, primarily on where your customers are, maybe they're on Instagram, or maybe they're on TikTok, or maybe they're just generally surfing the web, right? Wherever they are, this is where you build a strong brand. So this is where you spend time, resources, money, building that connection, that emotional bond with your customers, so that when they want to buy something that's related to what you do, you're first and foremost in their mind. This is how the big money is made, brand. Because once people start talking about you, that's a brand being built. 10 times the work that you do on your brand, your customers will willingly do for you on your behalf because they love what you do. That's why this is so important. All right, a little bonus. So this is another one. I said it was 5 points, but I'm going to give you 6. And this is a really, really important one. They have a permanent listing plan. So these big 500K per year sellers have a constant listing plan. They always know what's coming next into their Etsy store, what's planned behind that. They know what things are coming out of their store when that's happening. They delegate that task to someone. They're not sat there doing this themselves. Of course they're not. They've got someone doing this for them. This is one of the big secrets to Etsy. Having a listing plan, knowing where your ship is going, knowing what you're going to give Etsy, when you're going to give it to them, how you're going to give it to them, is a huge part of long-term success on Etsy. And all the big guns that I work with have a listing plan. They always know what's going on. Of course they do. Imagine not knowing what you're going to do next. That's crazy, isn't it? But so many sellers do this. I work with so many sellers. When I say to them, I always say the same thing. I say, if you weren't talking to me today and somebody came up to you and said, what's your plan for your listings and your products for the rest of this year? The answers, it's like blank faces. Oh, I thought I might do this. I might, oh, I don't know. I might try this. I might try that. No, that's being asleep at the wheel of your own business, right? Always know where you're going. At least 3 months away, preferably for the rest of the year. Know what your next move is, what your next plan is. Really, really important. Okay, so this is what the top 0.1% are doing. I work with them, and this is exactly what's going on in their businesses. Let me know if this is insightful. Did you like this video? Did it work for you? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to work with me, don't wait. Don't guess. The Book In Now button's coming up on your screen, which takes you to a calendar link to book a one-to-one free discovery call with me, so I can work out with you in paid consultations or mentoring how to improve your Etsy business. I look forward to catching you in the comments and catching you in the consultations. Cheers.